It's so easy for the human mind to get very fixated. And what that means, what fixating means, is where we kind of get really stuck. And it's like, it feels like I just have to do this one thing. I just have to figure out this one thing, solve this one problem. There's just something that I have to do. So, can you relate to this experience? It's something that seems so familiar. We ordinarily don't talk about this, but everybody has this kind of feature, these patterns where we get really stuck, right? And it's like, I just have to do this. I just have to do this. And maybe a part of you even wants to let go. A part of you wants to drop it. But can you? That's the hard part, right? Is you might get to the point where it's like, I'm just so tired of this, but I just have to finish it. I have to finish this task. I have to do this one thing. And it's pretty hard to just stop fixating. You can't just as if it's a light switch, you can't just turn it off. So what I want to explore a little bit, is kind of like what's going on there, and like a really simple way to help you kind of snap out of that, kind of take that backward step to kind of notice what's going on and kind of free yourself from the fixation. So one way to look at this, what's really going on when we're fixated, right? Is that, like I was saying in other videos, is that there's this conflict going on. And you could do inquiry to kind of really explore this conflict in detail. That can be helpful. But it's often hard to do this, right? So to really simplify this, what we can notice is that ultimately fixation is about control, right? It's ultimately about trying to control some variable, some outcome. It's like, if I could just do this one thing, then what? Then everything will ideally change. Like something will change, right? Like you're not just fixated for no reason, as if you don't care about the outcome. Obviously you do care about the outcome, otherwise you wouldn't be fixated, right? So say you're trying to fix something within your environment, trying to fix, I don't know, an object or something for work, right? You're trying to resolve some task for work. It could be a relationship that you're trying to resolve. There's just something that I need to fix here. Something I need to learn, figure out. So what you could do is kind of just take this activity, whatever it is that you're fixated on, and just convert it into a command almost. It's like, I need to fix it, right? I need to resolve this. Like just put it in words, right? Just put it in, like, what am I doing right now? Like, I just need to resolve it, fix it, do some, right? So trust yourself and just see what words connect to what you're trying to do. Like simply, right? Fix it, resolve it, solve it, figure it out. Then ask yourself, what will this give me? Like if I could just figure this out, solve this, fix it, what will that do for me? And trust what comes up for you, right? There's some benefit to fixing it. Otherwise you wouldn't care, right? But then what you could ask yourself is, but can I be okay if this doesn't happen today, right now? Can I be okay with this? Right? There's a part of you that's going to resist. You're going to feel it in your body. And that's kind of what you want, is you kind of want to bring up that part of you that's really frustrated and like, I have to do this right now. And if you kind of challenge it a little bit, like, what if I don't fix this right now? What if I don't figure this out right now? Can I be okay with that? And you'll feel in your body a sense of resistance, a sense of, no, I'm not okay with this. And that's what we want, because then we can allow it, right? When you're feeling the no directly in the body, notice, first of all, where is it? Probably in the jaw somewhere, in the head, in the throat. And just allow that no. Don't try to change it. Don't try to convince yourself that, okay, I can let this go and everything's okay. No, it's not okay, right? There's a part of you that's like, it's not okay. This is not okay. I really need this. And what if you just put your attention on that part of you directly? Instead of focusing on whatever it is that you have to resolve, instead look inward at the part of you that's very invested in this. And see if you can just support that part of you by giving it attention. And when you're here, you can also just see if control connects. Like I was saying earlier, is this about control? You can ask yourself, is this about control? Like if I can't fix this right now, if I can't do this, whatever it is that a loss of control? And can I allow myself to not be okay with it? Rather than trying to force yourself to be okay with it. Instead, can I allow myself to not like the loss of control that's happening right now? Right? It's like, oh, fine, okay. Because normally we're repressing it. We're not really allowing ourselves to just feel the frustration. We never do this because we're not taught to do this. We're taught to do the opposite, right? Just push down the frustration, use it almost as an energy to fix this, do it, do it, do it. But what happens when, whatever the task is just challenging, difficult? And what if there's literally nothing that you can even do right now? Like, for instance, if it's a relationship or, there's some unknown variable, right? Well, there's nothing that I can do about this right now, but I still really just want to fixate on it. I just really want to keep thinking about it and dwelling on it and fantasizing, kind of like rehashing the conversations, and maybe this is what I'll say next time. Fixating. Okay. Can I notice that? Can I notice that movement? Can I notice how it feels? The frustration in the body, the anger, whatever that emotion is. Can I kind of notice that energy, the feeling of it? Can I see that this is trying to resolve something? And maybe it's very important, actually. But in actuality, whatever it is really, it's not ultimately going to hit the spot. Like, it may seem like it, right? It may seem like, okay, if I can just do this one thing, finally I'll be able to just rest and, or if I can fix this one relationship, if I can just know if this person likes me, or if I can just know if, I don't know, whatever it is, right? If I could just find the right computer, it could be anything. The mind is so, it's so good at fixating. And it really depends on your conditions, really, what you get fixated on, objects, people, whatever, activities. But you see, like, ultimately that was trying to resolve something within yourself. So whatever it is outside of you is not going to resolve that. But we can notice that frustration, the feeling, and see how it connects with control, because that really helps. Because ultimately we're all trying to stay in control all the time. And that loss of control is what we fear. But we never admit that to ourselves. So then the fear is driving your behavior, and you don't even recognize it as such. So what happens when we do recognize it for what it is? It's a pattern trying to help. But it never stops. It's always looking for something to do, something to resolve, something to fix. And you might even notice this. Like I noticed this throughout my life, and it never made sense, honestly, until more recently. Is that sometimes my mind will actually look for problems and almost hope for a problem. It's like almost like in the back of my mind there'd be like this hope that, oh, I really hope the computer just doesn't work right now, because then I have something to do, then I have something to fixate on. Because without anything to fixate on, right? What do you feel? Or rather, what is it that I don't want to feel? Because that's what's avoided with fixation, which is loss of control, fear, helplessness. We can label it boredom, you can have like all sorts of words, but if you really go deep into that feeling and stay curious, let it show you what it is. And when you do this, when you attend to your own feelings directly within your body, within your mind, you're actually resolving them in a way that no one outside of you can resolve. No object, no activity, no relationship. Nothing can really resolve this fundamental restlessness, really, that we're all just trying to seek peace and comfort from. But it's insatiable, though. It never stops. It's like a hammer always looking for a nail. And when there isn't a nail, it starts to freak out. Like, oh shit, what do I do now? What do I do now? Oh crap, I need a problem. So it's good to notice this. It's very interesting. And it can be very charged, and it can be reinforced, like especially for men, because we get a lot of attention, validation, love, support for being the ones to fix things and resolve things. So it can actually seem like something really terrible will happen if you can't resolve this one little thing. But that's just the conditioning talking, really. Just see if that's true. Like, is there anything really negative that's going to happen if I can't figure this out right now, do this right now? So go to the source. It's my advice. You can be curious about whatever is going on, whatever pattern you're in right now. You can always go to the source, inwards. What is this trying to resolve within me? What is this trying to give me? And in this way, the fixations kind of free up, they dissolve, they unwind. And you'll still get stuff done. You'll still be able to focus just fine. Even better, actually. Because when you don't have an outcome in mind, you actually perform way better. I don't know if you noticed this, but for example, test anxiety. Like a lot of people have anxiety when they take exams because there's a fixation on the outcome, which is I have to get this right. I have to make the right choices. I have to, be correct. But how does that actually work out for you? Does that actually help you perform? So letting go of the outcome doesn't mean that you just stop caring. You still care. You still act. But actually even more efficiently than before. So all that extra efforting that we're taught in childhood, all that shame, all that fear, like learning to whip yourself over and over, is actually totally unnecessary. But as a child, I think as a child, we know this. As children, we know this intuitively, that this is unnecessary. But we don't have the power to say no. So notice this. Try to notice the fixating. It's like really getting obsessed, really getting laser focused about something. And rather than forcing yourself to just drop it, see if you can notice that I don't want to drop it. A part of me really doesn't want to drop it. Okay, does that have to do with losing control? Yeah, that is. Okay, I don't want to lose control. So just kind of allowing that feeling like, yeah, I just don't want to lose control. Okay, that's what that is. And now that feeling, the frustration, the fear, whatever that is, right? That emotion can move through now because we're actually directly looking at it, feeling it, allowing it. I just don't want to lose control. That's it. So it seems very simple. Too simple. Your mind might say this is too simple. How could this possibly work? Yeah, this definitely goes against all the conditioning, which says, no, I have to fix, I have to push myself, I have to fixate, I have to, or else. Or else. Or else what? So exploring that fear, like what if I do lose control? What if I, then what? Just remember, it's all survival based, and your mind's going to show you the worst case scenario. It could be death, could be losing everything, like no one likes you anymore. It's always the worst case scenarios, right? That's what these fears are based on. But when we can see them for what they are, they're kind of like misguided helpers. They're patterns that are trying to help, but they're misguided. They're deluded, really. And it's almost like a child who's kind of like mistaken. You're not going to yell at that child. That's not going to help. But if you kind of just like, okay, thank you. Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense, but I understand where you're coming from. You're trying to help me, okay, right? So it's like a different attitude, this attitude of acceptance. Kind of just seeing it for what it is. Like, yeah, okay, fear is coming up, fear of losing control. Okay, I'm just gonna let that be here. Let it be felt. And especially the direct feelings, the sensations, let them be felt. Because that's what we avoid. And in this way, you're gonna find actually not just more efficiency with your, not just more productivity, but actually a lot more peace. Just feeling more peace throughout the day, even in the midst of activity.